Hello and welcome back to the Wisdom for Humanity podcast. I am James Malins, the Wisdom Guide, and in this podcast we are going to be helping you to get from your present state to your desired state, all through wisdom, knowledge and real life experiences. And in this episode we're talking about inner power. Now when it comes to our inner power, we've been led to believe over the years that we are a lot weaker than we actually are. And that's through a lack of knowledge, that's through the schooling system, that's through sometimes accidental parenting. So that's a very, very broad statement. I'm saying that very gently. But sometimes through accidental parenting, we're led to believe that we're a lot weaker than we are. You've heard the phrases, be careful when you go out there, be careful when you do this, be careful when you do that, have a plan B, don't put all your eggs in one basket. All of these sentences that make us feel like we should only ever strive for 50% of our actual dreams and goals. Okay? Now, we need to understand that our inner power is much vaster than we've ever believed. And let me give you an example of this. I'm going to give you a personal example. When I was a teenager, I was bullied quite a bit. Not getting the violins out, okay? I was bullied quite a bit. I was made to feel worthless. I didn't feel great. I didn't feel good in myself. I felt like nobody wanted me. Nobody wanted to be around me. And when I felt like that, I actually put a limitation. I put a limit on top of my own ability, on top of who I was as a person. And as soon as I started going down, sprinting and going down the gym, all those limits evaporated. And all those limits evaporated because I realized very quickly how powerful I actually was. I could change my physical body. And if I could change my physical body, then what else could I change in my life? And from that moment, and every moment from then, my whole life started to change because I realized my own inner power. I realized that if I actually set my mind to it and I actually really push and work towards what it is that I want to do, it's absolutely attainable. And this is what we have to understand. Over the years, a lot of our beliefs have been installed into us, okay? From partners, mothers, fathers, family members, friends, school teachers, whatever it is, it's been installed into us, and we have to actually uninstall that information if we're to move closer to our desired state. So I want to take another story, for example. So this is actually from a book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, and I do recommend you get that book as always. It tells a story of a young boy who was in his maths class, and he wasn't doing too well. He started to slip a little bit. His grades started to go down, and his teacher turned around to him and said, "I'm sorry to tell you, you'll never be any good at maths. You're useless. You're never going to get anywhere in life." And the teacher told his parents, and because the parents didn't have all the information, they believed it. And they told the kid, don't expect too much of yourself in maths. Don't expect yourself to do too well because you're not going to. Okay, and the little boy, unbeknownst to him, has absorbed this information. Now, he really struggles with maths. He can't ever seem to get the answers correct. He's always getting really terrible grades. And one day, the teacher puts an equation up on the board and the class can't solve it. And the little boy thinks to himself, I feel like I know what the answer is for this. And he puts his hand up, and the teacher laughs at him, and the whole class laughs at him as well. And he said, sod it. I'm going to go up there anyway, and I'm going to give it a go. And he goes up there and he solves the equation because he had the answers deep inside of him. He had the answer rooted inside of his mind. And the teacher's shocked, and the whole class goes silent. And he walks back to his table, and he realised that he actually was good at maths. Now, that's a kind of an academic example, right? That's an academic example, but it's a very, very powerful one. His teacher, due to their lack of exterior perspective, installed a belief into a little child that could have totally ruined the whole of their life. Now again, okay, well that's a little bit excessive, James. What, ruin the whole of their life? Well, think about it. Maybe that boy's true calling in life was to be a scientist. Maybe his true calling in life was to be a space technician working for SpaceX with Elon Musk, right? And if he was led to believe he was terrible at maths, if he was led to believe he was no good and wasn't supposed to do it, he would never have achieved. And this is a really valuable lesson for you guys to understand when it comes to inner power. Our inner power can be muffled and can have a roof put over it by the beliefs of other people. So you need to understand how powerful you are. You need to understand that you are in control of yourself. You are in control of what it is that you want to do in life. And even if you think right now that you're terrible at doing something, ask yourself the question, where has it come from? Where has that belief come from? Has it come from you? Or has it come from your external experiences? I.e., has it come from outside of you? from people who are around you, from opinions, from a false set of information which you actually have to look at and change. So it's really important that when we look at this concept, we realize beliefs are just a set of information. Whatever it is we believe in this life is just a set of information and experiences. Okay, you experience something, I don't know, you got up out of bed, you stubbed your toe on the bed, you're there cursing and screaming, and you're super annoyed, and then you don't want to stub your toe again, right? You remember ice skating down the road, or you're rollerblading, let's go with the rollerblading, seasonal. Okay, you're rollerblading down the road, you fall over, you trip, you hit your knee on the floor, and you bang your head, and you start crying when you're a kid, and all of a sudden you hate rollerblading. Okay, you've got a belief that you've got a fear of rollerblading, or a fear of, moving super quick, I don't know, fear of heights as well, same thing. Maybe you fell off a 1 meter tall box when you were a child or a baby, you hit on the ground, it caused you a bit of pain, now you hate heights. Okay, heights install the largest amount of fear in you because your brain recorded that experience and that information, what you felt. We need to feed it some new information, though. We need to say to ourselves, look, if it's got the right safety equipment, you're going to be fine. If you're climbing up a mountain or a pole, and it doesn't matter if you get right to the top and it makes you feel wheezy and woozy and whatever, because you're safe. And as soon as you start to reprogram your mind, you start telling your mind that it's okay. You start reprogramming the experiences down in your subconscious. Then you start to lose that fear. All of a sudden you associate the experience with something pleasurable, right? Maybe you're afraid of heights and you want to jump out of a plane, right? And that sounds crazy. For some people they're like, hell no would I ever do that. But imagine jumping out of a plane 5 times. Obviously surviving each time, because you're with an instructor, you're safe, you're strapped in, they've done thousands and thousands of skydives. You get to the point where you'd enjoy it, because the fear is gone, and then the adrenaline and the exhilaration and the endorphins that start flowing because of this rush of energy that you get makes you feel amazing, so you want to get up there again. So after 5 attempts of doing it, now you love it, and because you conquered that fear, you now have more opportunity, you can do more, you can experience more, and you've got more power inside of you because you have more control. Okay, so control and power are very, very closely mixed in many, many aspects in life. But as we're talking about ourselves, it's very important to understand that your power is directly associated with the control you have over yourself. Okay, your inner power and what you believe and who you are and what you're capable of doing is directly proportionate to the control you have over yourself. So a lot of people, they're going through a really terrible situation, they don't feel good, they don't know where they are, they don't know what to do, they're miserable, they're depressed, they're anxious, they've got bipolar and all these things, and they feel miserable because they have no control. They don't control their thoughts, they can't control their life experiences. And yes, I understand to a degree, it's, you can't control everything, it's impossible to control everything because a lot of it's to do with free will. Okay, if you've got free will, you cannot control that because it's not yours to control. So let's just take, for example, our own experiences. Okay, financial. If you're losing money, find a way to make more. Easier said than done, James. Yep, cute phrase. Thanks for that. Find a way of doing it. Because this comes back to what I've always said. Right, I can preach all of this stuff. I can say all the cute phrases and the cute quotes in the world, but all of this stuff is for you. And it's down to you as to whether it benefits you. Okay, like I said in the very, very first lesson, if you don't learn what you need to learn from here, it will be in the episodes in the future. But you have to stay consistent. You've got to stay consistent with absorbing the right information. You've got to stay consistent with your belief upon it, because with that consistency comes a better understanding. And with a better understanding comes more control. Okay, so if you can control yourself, if you can understand yourself and your mind and your body and your emotions and your feelings and your thoughts, then you start to exercise control over them, because you say to yourself, okay, well, I understand that I feel miserable. How do I change it? And when you ask yourself the question, how do you change it? Google it. Do you know how many influencers there are on mindset? There are hundreds of thousands of people that are, quote, mindset coaches or, quote, life coaches. Me being one of them. Well, I'm the wisdom guide, so I'm a little bit different, but you get the point. Okay, there are a lot of people out there that do life coaching, that do mindset coaching, that do business coaching, all this stuff, and it's all information. It's information to help you to gain more control over your life. So now I want to point your attention to the human mind's potential. Okay, now this is especially important when it comes to what I said in the beginning of the podcast when I went to the gym. It's especially important when we look at mothers. And the reason why it's especially important when we look at mothers, because there have been recorded incidents where mothers have been able to lift cars, 2 or 3 women, and not to be sexist in this sense, but these women weren't exactly bodybuilders or weightlifters, just like probably the blokes that stood by. So these cars are about, 1.5, 2, 3 tons, okay? And these women lifted this car off of their child to save them. That right there is the mind working at maximum capacity. Why? Because there are no other stops then. Your brain takes out all the limiters, and even if you tear your muscles to shreds, you do it so you bring that car off of your child. And this is the really important thing. There have been recorded instances in war. In war where people have taken, I'm not going to be graphic, but people have taken very, very serious injuries to the head and they've carried on going. Because a chemical has been released in the brain and it's forced the body to keep on moving 6, 7, 8 seconds after they should be clinically dead. And you can research that yourself. So it's very important that we understand that our potential in our minds and our inner power and what's inside of us is monstrous. It is absolutely phenomenal. And when you understand that and you understand how huge your actual mind power is, you're able to, again, gain more control. Why? Because you let go of your limits. There are no limits anymore. For someone who can greatly control their mind, control their ability, and control who they are, they start to evaporate these limits. Then you ask yourself the question, what can I achieve? And once you've asked yourself the question, what can I achieve? Well, you tell me. Then it's infinite, isn't it? You can become a business owner. You can become a mother, father. You can, whatever it is you want, whatever it is you want to achieve, whatever it is you want to attain, you can do it. Because there are no limits. Because you understand yourself. And actually, going back again to the book, Psycho-Cybernetics, there's one very, very interesting part inside of that book which really, really resonated with me. In Psycho-Cybernetics, what actually happens is there is a big teaching in there that connects the similarities between the brain and a missile guidance system. Okay, so you've got heat-seeking missiles, whatever. You've got these missiles, and it connects the brain with these heat-seeking guidance systems. Okay, and the reason why it does that is because the computer and the brain are very similar when it comes to attaining goals. As we are going towards our goals, our brain will make subtle adjustments to keep us on path. Take for instance these podcast episodes. Recording 15 podcast episodes straight away. My brain knows what the goal is. My eyes might be heavy. I might be feeling a little bit tired. I might need a drink. But my brain will adjust my body's reaction, my body's focus, in order to attain the goal that I've set for myself. Very similar to a missile. As it's going through the air, the rudder on the back will gently adjust course so that it stays on course. And that's a very interesting thing because, again, it links the conscious and subconscious mind. You see, when you understand that the information you feed into the conscious actually gets buried into the subconscious mind, you realize what you can actually set in motion. Okay, so this is, again, it comes back to control and it comes back to power. So when you've got that control over yourself, this is where your inner power starts to come in. So what are the exercises that I want you to take away from this? What I want you to do is I want you to start understanding yourself. Start asking yourself questions. And this is, I'll do a lot of these exercises with my clients as well. Start asking yourself these questions. All right? Ask yourself, what do you want? How do you feel? Are you happy with where you are? Are there people in your life that are making you feel miserable? Are there experiences and situations that you wish you could get out of? Because when you ask yourself these questions and these scenarios, you start looking for answers. And when you start looking for answers, I guarantee you will come across them. 97%, fictitious percentage, but I want to give you the scope. 97% of people, they don't search for what it is they're looking for. They have a problem, they have a situation, they have something that's really bothering them. They don't know how to get out of it and they stay there. They stay stagnant, they stay still, and they keep those roofs over their head because it might keep them dry from the rain. Right? Because when you step out into the unknown and you try to look for these answers, it's a little bit scary. Right? You don't know what you're going to find, you don't know who to trust, you don't know what to listen to, even me. Right? Some of you might be listening and thinking, this information's fantastic. I'm absolutely blessed to have come across this podcast. Thank you so much. Some of you might be a little bit dubious, thinking, well, how can I trust this guy? Look at him, he's got tattoos all over him. Look at this ugly guy, got tattoos all over. Some of you might be thinking, I don't trust this guy at all. I can't stand his voice. I can't stand who he is. I'm watching the video on YouTube. I can't stand his eyes, the way he's looking. And you might just dismiss it and go away. But the point is that you have to find what it is that you associate best with. Okay, so it might not be me. Your association with what you believe to be true is all down to you. It's down to your past experiences, the information you've been fed up to this present moment, and it's down to how you feel. So, if you think that all tattooed people should, I don't know, be in jail or be off the planet or whatever, or if you don't like my voice or whatever it is, then you're not going to be absorbing the information as much. So when it comes to inner power and searching for the answers for yourself, it's very important that you have a look at what it is that you really want. Because when you have a look at what it is you really want, you start searching. And this is exactly how I got to the way I am today. If you're looking for the magic formula, I know this is Wisdom for Humanity. If you're looking for the magic formula, start researching. All right, and that sounds really crap, right? That sounds like, oh God, back at school and back at uni or whatever. Start researching for yourself. Start having a look at these, different influencers and people and see who you resonate with. If it isn't me, find somebody else. Hope it is me. Stick around. I don't want you to go anywhere, but look, that's the point. Okay, you're always going to find somebody who you resonate with. You're going to think, oh, this person's really kind. I resonate with them. Well, this person's got a bit of fire about them. I resonate with them. And there, eventually, you will come across people who are very similar to you. And when you find someone who's similar to you, you find so many answers. There are a lot of groups out there where people are constantly helping and providing information for others. So listen, when it comes to finding your inner power, just remember these 3 things. Remember that your ability to make the right decisions is yours. You have that free will. You have that inside of you, and nobody can take that away from you. Number 2, don't forget the human mind's potential. Okay, the human mind's potential is monstrous, and when you start to actually dive into the physical and the mental aspects of that, you start to realize that there is such a vast amount of information and consciousness and feeling and pleasure out there that you never thought there was. And finally, number 3, remember that if you have that belief in yourself, your mind will keep you on track and will guide you towards your goals, and you will start to uncover this power as you go along. And then 2-3 years down the line, you might be so strong in yourself that you look back at this episode and you think to yourself, wow, if I hadn't have actually come across that episode, and if I hadn't have actually been pushing forwards to find the information that I needed, to find the answers to help me to better understand myself, then you may never have got to the place where you wanted to be. Because don't forget, your life can change in just a moment, and that's all it takes. All it takes is a moment to change your entire life. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I absolutely appreciate every single one of you. It's absolutely phenomenal to do these episodes. I love doing it. I love providing the information. As I'm talking, I'm growing. As you're growing, I'm growing. It's just an absolutely fantastic feeling. So don't forget, come and follow me across the social medias. I've got Instagram and Facebook. They're my predominant ones. Come and follow me on there. And don't forget that I have my 2 courses, the 10 Keys to Life and the Foundations of Life. So if you enjoyed what you heard today and you want to find out more and you want to dive deeper into yourself and you can't wait for next week's episode, then make sure you go and check those out. You'll be able to get the first 3 lessons for free, so you don't have to pay a penny for the first 3 lessons. And if you like it, you can invest in yourself and buy those courses to help you get to where it is that you want to be. So don't forget, guys, go straight onto the next episode, find that out. If you've got time, leave some feedback as well. Give a rating on the podcast. And listen, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next episode.